Actor George Clooney recently gave some thoughts on President Trump. Fox News reports, in a new interview with Broadway legend Patti LuPone for Variety's Actors on Actors Broadway series, the Oscar-winning actor and longtime Democrat predicted Trump will simply go away when he leaves office. Clooney made the comment during a broader conversation about political cycles and the lasting impact of authoritarian figures. Quote, from President Jackson to Joseph McCarthy to this, the authoritarian, the demagogue, it goes away when they go away, Clooney said, referring to Trump. And he will go away, he added. Clooney didn't shy away from acknowledging Trump's magnetism either. Quote, they, the Republican Party, don't have anybody that's as charismatic as him. He's charismatic. There's no taking that away from him. He's a television star, he said. That's right, he is. He brings the show. He brings the show. The Republicans wanted a show in 2016, and boy, they got a show. Remember those primary debates? But at this point, I think the show has kind of run its course, and it has gotten a lot more frustrating and disturbing than it is entertaining, even if it can be entertaining at times. The Republicans definitely don't have someone who's quite as charismatic as Trump. They have people who are better speakers than him in the sense that they have a better vocabulary. They speak more intelligibly. You know, these people often went to Ivy League law schools. You know, they're very sophisticated, unlike Trump. They do know stuff about policy, in fairness to them. You know, just way more intelligent. But Trump got that riz. Trump got that riz or something like that. You know, he can go up there and scream and throw temper tantrums and smirk and yeah, whatever. And they love it, you know, slam the media. Oh yeah, he hates the same people that we hate. That's so cool. He knows how to frame a shot, you know, he's pretty edgy. Well, yeah, no, that's the charisma we want. We don't care about all this knowing stuff and all these policy mumbo jumbo. No, we just care about someone who talks tough and has that charisma. Quote, we've been in much worse places, he said. The only thing that's different is the source of information and how much and how many different sources. It's the only thing that's different, but it's not nearly as violent, even though it feels violent. It's not nearly as hopeless as it was at that moment in time. So that's referring to the 1960s he was. Yeah, the 1960s were chaotic in many ways. A lot got done, obviously. Some of it was good, like the Civil Rights Act. Some of it was very dubious, like the Vietnam War. But yeah, that was some insane stuff. I'm sort of glad I wasn't around for that. But yeah, as for his prediction that Trump will go away, you know, it's so hard to imagine. He lost in 2020, and then he wouldn't go away because he made up that he actually won the election. He's like, yeah, no, I won, and he toured the country just being a whiny brat. He decided to announce his run for re-election in November 2022, a whole 2 years before the election. Usually they announce it on the odd numbered year before the election, but no, this guy's like, yeah, 2 years before. And then he goes around the country just throwing temper tantrums, while also like, yeah, slamming Biden and making up a bunch of lies about an open border or something like that. So yeah, we haven't seen this guy go away ever. He's always been in the public spotlight. While Clooney has often been seen as an ally of the Democratic Party, he hasn't hesitated to critique the party's leadership. Earlier this month, in a CNN interview with Jake Tapper, Clooney discussed the backlash he received after writing a New York Times guest essay expressing concern over former President Joe Biden's mental fitness and encouraging him to exit the 2024 race. Only weeks after the essay, Biden did drop out, clearing the path for Vice President Harris to be the Democratic nominee. Clooney told Tapper he felt compelled to speak up, saying he couldn't stand by as party leaders continued to deny the president's cognitive decline. As for the future of the Democratic Party, Clooney has floated names like Maryland Governor Wes Moore, Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear, and Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer as potential leaders. He told LuPone the party needs, quote, people to represent us better, who have a sense of humor and who have a sense of purpose. Sense of humor, I mean, that's definitely drawing from President Trump, that's for sure. Yeah, I mean, the Democratic Party at times has had a hard time with humor, I would say. They get it sometimes, but sometimes they don't. You know, sometimes they're a little too humorless. And it's totally understandable, especially right now with the way the country is being just hammered by President Trump's ridiculous policies and DOGE and, yeah, the constitutional violations. It's like there's not much place for humor, but, you know, In less turbulent times, there'd be more of a place. During the Biden administration, there was arguably more of a place because we weren't witnessing constitutional violations quite on the level of the Trump administration, as well as the destruction of the administrative state. We were not seeing the government being destroyed under Biden. So, when Democrats act a little too PC and a little too humorless, that can be something that may hurt them in the polls, something that doesn't necessarily look good, that makes them seem a little too stuck up, And not to say that Trump's some good guy because he uses humor, and he is stuck up, he thinks he's better than everyone. But yeah, the charisma thing comes from Trump in the form of humor at times, and Democrats sometimes lack humor. Quote, I think we'll get the House back in a year and a half, and I think that'll be a check and balance on power, Clooney told Lepone. A little bit. I think that's definitely in the cards. I don't know how much the House is going to help. Obviously, it's going to help obstruct Republican legislation, but if Trump still has the presidency in the Senate, think about what happens if a U.S. Supreme Court justice, cough, cough, Alito, Clarence Thomas, retires. We got to stop Trump from appointing some young, hardcore right-winger to the court, someone who is totally insane, I'm not talking about the current justices, that he appointed, meaning Barrett, Kavanaugh, Gorsuch. Those people are more moderate than Alito and Thomas, but if he appoints a younger version of Alito and Thomas, that's concerning. Last month, Trump took to Truth Social to criticize the actor after he did an interview with 60 Minutes, calling him a second-rate movie star and failed political pundit. Yeah, that sounds like something he'd say. And a lot of these actors love to be political pundits too, but it's just the way it is. Maybe George Clooney will run for president as a Democrat. He will be the Democratic version of Donald Trump, basically. I know some people really want Jon Stewart to run. I don't know about George Clooney, though. But yeah, he's not going to run for office anyhow. What am I saying? Let me know what you think in the comments below. Do you think that Trump will go away, as George Clooney is saying here? It seems so hard to imagine, But the 22nd Amendment says that you can only serve 2 terms as president. Will Trump try to get a 3rd term? Will he get kicked out of office and say, I was supposed to get a 3rd term, actually. I have a way of getting a 3rd term, believe me. And just throw these bitter, resentful temper tantrums? I don't know. Like, comment, or subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much for watching. This has been the More the Merrier, and I look forward to speaking to you in my next video.